Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tim's Vinyl Confessions. I'm Tim Durling, and this is a chart episode. And so, for this episode, we've got someone who's been on the show many times, and I've been on his show. We've never done a chart episode before. So, I asked John, the Music Nut, if he wanted to do this, and he was very interested. So, John, welcome.
Thank you, Tim. It's great to be here. I'm looking forward to doing this one.
Yeah, we're going back 40 years to the date. We're going back April 18th, 1986 to Radio and Records magazine and their top 60 AOR tracks this week in 1986. And I have to say, there are a lot of great songs on here. There are a few songs I don't know. I do know most of them. And I'm noticing that the AOR stations, when a band, especially a big band, would put a new album out, they would just immediately add two or three songs into their rotation. And
Oh yeah.
I've never been in an area where I've heard a station quite like this, but it sure would have been cool.
Yeah, and it's interesting, like some of these songs that are on the AOR charts here, some of these songs were huge hits on the pop charts here in the States, but you would have never heard them on album-oriented rock radio here.
Yeah, some of them are interesting. It's like there are some groups I don't think they knew quite what to do with or quite how to
Yes,
classify them.
right.
So yeah, let's get into it. And since John's our guest, I want him to be able to do the number one song, which means I'm going to start us off with number 60. And this is kind of a surprise. Yeah, this is kind of a
Yes.
you'd expect this to be more of a pop thing because this was a huge pop single. OMD, Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, and If You Leave, their big hit single from the Pretty in Pink soundtrack. Of course, they were kind of an art rock, I guess you'd call them an art rock band. By this point, they were very, very pop, but this song must have gotten a little bit of uh, airplay on rock radio. This week, I'm assuming it's it didn't climb very high, it seems. It looks like it's on its way out.
Right, yes. And that would be the case here. It was a huge pop hit here in the States, and deservedly so. It's a wonderful song. It sounds kind of like the end of the new wave era, even though by 1986 we weren't talking new wave anymore. It's very well written. I mean, the chorus is to die for. I mean, I remember this chorus from the first time I heard it. And I mean, I was a hard rock heavy metal guy at this point in my life, but I remember this song very, very
Well,
clearly.
it's got a great drum track on it too. Got a
Absolutely.
really big booming drum track.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. Great song.
All right, so let's move on to number 59. What do you got for us?
Okay, we got Suzanne Vega with Joe Jackson left of center. Now, Suzanne Vega does the vocal on here. Joe Jackson doesn't sing on it. He just plays the piano on this song. This was also from Pretty in Pink.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Yep.
Also from Pretty in Pink. And this was one of the songs I wasn't familiar with when you first gave this assignment to me. Then when I checked it out, I'm like, this sounds very familiar. And I checked it out. Oh, that's where I know it from.
Yeah.
Pretty in Pink.
Debuting this week at number 58 is Jufria with I Must Be Dreaming. Jufria, of course, Greg Jufria, formerly of Angel, eventually to form House of Lords. This is from the second album, Silk and Steel. And this song is interesting because it's actually a cover, and it was written by a guy who some of you out there may recognize his name, Willie DeVille. Anyone that's ever seen The Princess Bride might know who Willie DeVille is. So yeah, this is actually a cover of one of his songs.
This got played on MTV a little bit
Yeah.
back in the day, but not much. It didn't get played like Call to the Heart, but I do remember this song.
Yeah.
A little bit of traction.
Yeah.
So we're going with number 57, Fiona, Living in a Boy's World. Now, this is a good pop song. Fiona's vocals very good on this, but it doesn't rock. It's very dated production. The production streams 86 and very, very glossy. And it's a shame because she's doing a good job on her vocal on this one.
Yeah, of course, her full name was Fiona Flanagan. I know she was involved with Beau Hill, the producer.
Okay.
She acted opposite Bob Dylan in a movie called, I think it was called Hearts on Fire or Hearts of Fire.
Okay.
And she had a minor hit with a song called Talk to Me in 1985. And then in 1989, She had another minor hit, which maybe did a little bit better because I remember hearing it on the radio a few times. It was a duet with Kip Winger called Everything You Do.
Okay.
But she never really cracked. She was sort of a cult artist.
Fiona had a hit here a few years earlier. I know there's something going on.
That's Frida.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
that's Andy Frid
Thank-
from ABBA,
ah,
and that is a fantastic song.
it is.
With Phil
My bad.
Collins
I'm
on
sorry.
drums and background vocals, and there is a connection to the next song at number 56 because we've got Mike and the Mechanics, of course, Mike Rutherford, Hanging by a Thread. I don't know this song.
I didn't know this song either. This wasn't a single here in the States. This was before my days of listening to Rock 107. So I don't know if it got on the AOR playlist here. I knew the other three singles off the album, but
Yeah,
this has a little more grit to it. This is a pretty cool track. I dig. It's got a little bit spacey, some effects on here, but that is the way it was in '85. But it's a cool tune. Definitely grittier than the three big singles off of this, like Silent Running, for example.
yeah.
So
All
now
right.
we're going to go with number 55, Crocus, Burning Up the Nights. I am not a fan of this song. I did not like it in '86, and I don't like it now. And I
It's very pop.
very pop and kindergarten lyrics on this one, ladies and gentlemen. That's just how I feel. I don't want to be too critical, but it was what
I
happened.
think this
Focus.
band's better days were behind them.
They were come back a little bit when they went back to their rockin' roots, but I think this screams management or the record label is really in their ear. This
Yeah.
It's not good. It's a shame. We got Headhunter 3 years earlier, and then we got this.
Hardly sounds like the same band, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just Mark's voice. That's it.
Yeah. At number 54, John Cougar Mellencamp and Rain on the Scarecrow. Very powerful song. It was a minor hit. It wasn't a huge hit for him, but this, of course, is from his Scarecrow album.
Yes, this was. I still have the cassette. I think this hit number 21 here in the States. I
Sounds
believe
about right. Yeah.
single number 4. And I've always dug this song. This was the opening track on Scarecrow. Scarecrow's great album by John Cougar Mellencamp, perhaps his finest, and this is an excellent track.
Yeah. What I remember about the video to this, it starts off, they're talking to a couple of farmers
Yes, that's right.
and they're talking about, how hard it is to make a go of it. And it's kind of funny because the very last thing right before the song starts, one of them goes, "You want to buy a farm?"
Yep, I remember that clearly.
Yeah. Number 53. This was a big breakthrough for this band. It was their international breakthrough song, In Excess from Listen Like Thieves and What You Need. It was a top 5 pop single. I'm not sure how it did on the AOR chart at this point, but this week it's down to 53.
It was, yeah, huge hit here. Like you said, the first real big hit. We heard some NXS here in the States with The One Thing and Don't Change and Original Sin, but this is when they really started getting played heavy. I mean,
Yeah.
the sax on here. I mean, I'm not just saying the solos, but it's also part of the main part of the song. But Michael Hutchence is on fire on
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Great track.
And I
It,
realized I took yours, so I'll keep on going so we'll get back on track. Sorry
okay.
about that. Number
Well, good.
52, Dire Straits, and kind of a ballad type song from Brothers in Arms, So Far Away. This was a hit. It wasn't as big a hit as Money for Nothing or Walk of Life, but I quite like this one. It's got some obviously great guitar picking from Mark Knopfler, and it's more of it's a moodier song for them.
Yes, it is. This was top 15 here. I remember that clearly. Got played heavy on AOR and on the pop charts. Yes, the guitar work on here. I mean, you hear Mark playing one note, you know it's him. He's got a very unmistakable sound. He's got that very laid back vocal delivery.
Yeah.
But, got played really heavy here. Okay, now number 51. This is a band that made a lot more waves in Canada than they did here, which is a bit of a shame. And that is Honeymoon Suite with Bad Attitude. This song to me it sounds a little bit like Loverboy, something off of the Love and Every Minute of It album. I think this is a very cool track.
Oh man, I'm a huge fan of this band. This was the opening track on their second album, The Big Prize. This song did get a little bit of traction too because I think it featured on an episode of Miami Vice, which was a big
Okay.
deal back then.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, didn't really break like I think they should have. I think they had all the ingredients. Number 50. This is a song that I kind of forgot about. One reason is that there's no video to it, but I do. Once I saw it, got the title, and I remembered, oh yeah, Robert Palmer and Hyperactive. This is kind of just a fun, upbeat pop song. This is from his Riptide album, but it wasn't as big as Addicted to Love or Didn't Mean to Turn You On. But again, there was no video for this song. But a cool song debuts this week at number 50.
Okay, and it hit number 33 in the States during its run. And I forgot how this song went until I just checked it out. And it's a decent song. We didn't get the video, and back at that point, it was the video that was going to push the song.
All he would have needed was, the girls behind him,
Exactly.
and they probably would have had another top 10 hit.
Perhaps. I mean, I don't think it's as memorable of his two huge hits off this album, one we're going to talk about in a little while. But yes, I'm a bigger fan of Thomas Dolby's Hyperactive. Let me just go.
Love that. So that song cracks me up. I love that song. Yeah.
That is fantastic. And this song is pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 49, Wax, Right Between the Eyes. This is Andrew Gold, who had a big hit called Lonely Boy in the
Yep.
late 70s, and Graham Goldman from 10cc. I totally forgot about this track. This is one of a few songs that when I was checking this out, I'm like, oh, I remember this. I haven't heard it in 39 years, but yeah, this is
I remember hearing this on the radio like a couple times and seeing the video and thinking, why am I not hearing this more? This is super catchy.
it
And
is.
I revisited it within last few years. I'm like, this is a great song. Like this is snap your fingers and sing along to it. Like, why wasn't this a bigger hit? Uh, on the pop chart, it only peaked at 43, so it wasn't even a top 40 single, but it's a great song. Yeah, my understanding is that this band Wax, they I think were initially going to keep on using the 10cc name, but
Okay.
they Andrew Gold said, well, it's not really 10cc, it's me, So, but anyway, great song and one of those great lost gems of the 80s that if that are worth seeking out. And it's cool when that happens, when you have a reaction, you go, when it unlocks that memory, like, I know this, I've heard this before, I just completely forgot about it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Now, this is really interesting at number 48, because I never would have thought this would have gotten any AOR play. Pet Shop Boys, West End Girls. I would have thought this would straight up dance pop. It's a great pop song. I can't hear it on AOR radio. There must have been a few stations that like, we don't care, we like this anyway, but
Perhaps.
I don't know, it's unusual. Yeah.
Yeah. And okay, this was another song like OMD's If You Leave, where, I was a hard rock kid, but this was such an infectious single that I loved it back in the day. I didn't
Yeah.
go and buy the album.
There was a darkness about it too. It wasn't
Yes,
just a straight up pop song. There was an undercurrent of, this uh yeah, it's not they aren't party time lyrics for sure.
they're not. They're
Yeah.
not. The video was quite popular here, but yeah,
Yeah.
this is their big. This hit number one in the States,
Yeah.
and video was very popular, and for very good reason. This is a fantastic track from the 1980s. Next song we have, one of my favorite albums from 85, but I was a hard rock guy. I loved me some songs from the Big Chair. Tears for Fears. This was the fourth single off the album.
Yeah.
This is Mother's Talk.
Yeah. And there were, I think, three different videos for this song.
I didn't know that till later.
Yeah, there were like three different videos for this song, and I think there were different mixes of it too. But yeah, this was kind of it was a minor hit coming down off of the first three, which were all top tens.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, they wrote great songs. No question. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Number 46. I think this was his first solo album after
Was.
the breakup of the Stray Cats. Brian Setzer, The Knife Feels Like Justice. I remember this. I remember seeing this video, and I remember the chorus to the song. It's very memorable. I think they were definitely going for that John Mellencamp kind of feel. It's not rockabilly at all. It doesn't sound like the Stray Cats. It sounds very much like stuff that John Mellencamp was doing at the time. But Brian Setzer, a fantastic guitar player. But yeah, I don't think this did much on the pop charts. So I do remember it though. It's a unique title.
Right. And that's how it was here. Like it got played a little bit on MTV. I don't recall hearing it on the radio at all. But yes, like you said, John Mellencamp, Tom Petty, it was more heartland
More
rock.
Americana, yeah. Bob Seger, yeah. It was
Yes,
that's probably
very,
what they were going for, yeah.
very much so. And the album was very critically acclaimed, but it because it didn't. I don't know if they just didn't know how to mark. I mean, they were trying to market them that way, but I guess Stray Cat Strut was still embedded in our fabric so much that it wasn't given much of a shot.
Yeah.
So the next track we have is Katrina and the Waves with this is that it's and this is an 80s song with a very big 60s Motown vibe. This is not
Big time.
Sunshine.
No, big time. I remember hearing this. I do remember seeing the video very briefly, but just like that, it dropped and they ended up being, really a one-hit wonder. But I thought this was a catchy song. It just didn't, it's funny when you look back, it's like how would you know like which bands were going to go on to have careers with a whole bunch of hit singles and which ones just captured that lightning in a bottle and didn't go much further. But yeah, I do remember this, just not very well.
Exactly.
Um, the next song was another one that did when I got thinking about it, I'm like, I do know this song. It was a minor hit. At number 44, we've got The Models. And I know in some territories they had to call themselves the Australian Models because there must have been another band called The Models somewhere in the world. Out of Mind, Out of Sight. I remember this. This was like yeah, I'm not going to call it pub rock, but they seemed like the kind of band that would do really well playing a big club. They had like there was horns
Yes.
in this song. It wasn't exactly, it didn't sound like In Excess necessarily, but it was kind
Oh,
of, um, I don't know. I don't know what you'd compare it to, but I do remember it. It was kind of catchy, but it was a minor hit, and I think that's the last sort of North American success they ever had.
yes, I agree. And I remember this song vaguely. I remember hearing this song about a year or two ago. I don't know if it was just something that went on my rotation on YouTube or Spotify or what it was, but I was like, oh yeah, I remember this track. Yeah, but like you said, it's very upbeat and sunny with those horn lines in it. Very, very cool tune. You can argue it's like the Wax song and the fact that it's like a lost nugget from the mid 80s.
Yeah, yeah,
No doubt. Our number 43 was a huge hit here in the States, their biggest hits, level 42 with Something About You. What a wonderful song. What
great.
wonderful bass playing by Mark King. He was,
Yeah,
what a
and
heck.
singing.
And singing.
And singing and slap it a bass. Like, I mean, yeah, I mean, oh, what a great song. It just as soon as you hear that dun 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 dun, like you're like, okay, I'm in.
So many hooks.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of hooks and great. Just they were just a great band. They had a really unique sound. The drummer was really, really good. He played really, really tight, and they had kind of a jazzy. You could tell that they were just musos, but they always just played for the song. They had a lot more hits in the UK, but this was a big single over here.
Yes.
Um, at number 42, this was an artist that was making a comeback. I think it was his first new album in 3 years. Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band from the album Like a Rock. It's a song I don't know called Tightrope. It's at 42 this week.
Yeah, I didn't know it myself until I checked it out. It's a decent song. It's a good song lyrically, but the production really jumps out at you. It doesn't have the grit even from the distance, let alone earlier albums like Night Moves or Stranger in Town. Very heavy on the drum machines and the synths, but Bob has that unmistakable voice. He can sing the phone book and you'd love it. But, it's a cool tune. And that's going to lead us to another song by Bob Seger, although John Fogerty would write this
Yeah.
one. And it was, I believe, the last song on the Like a Rock album. It's a cover of Traveling Man.
Fortunate Son.
I'm sorry, I messed up again. Fortunate son.
CCR either way. But yeah,
PCR, there
I
you go.
I wonder, and I'm not sure, I didn't look into this, but I wonder if this was a song that was only on the CD and not on the vinyl.
Maybe, I'm not
It
sure.
might have been one of those, but yeah, again, here we can tell, like, there's a new Bob Seger album and rock radio is like, okay, we're gonna play a bunch of songs all at once from it. Number 40. This is going to sound controversial to some. I was never a big Ozzy or Sabbath fan, and this is my favorite Ozzy song. Always has been. Shot in the Dark. I love the catchiness of it. This is my kind of radio rock right here. But I've always liked this song. It made inroads on the Hot 100, but I think it only got to 67. He was still a little bit too wild for top 40 radio, but this was super catchy. Video got all kinds of play. This week it's down to number 40.
Yes, and that's how it was with about us back in the day. We were all big Ozzy fans. We were waiting for the album. And yeah, it was a little glossy compared to what he had done before, but we all loved Shot in the Dark, and that video got played heavy here.
Yeah,
Yeah. We got a lot more video play than you got radio play on this
yeah.
track. Number 39, we're going back with In Excess now, and the title track to Listen Like These, which you still hear to this day on album oriented rock radio, maybe your classic rewind on Sirius XM.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Or First Wave or
For
yeah.
first wave, you're on.
Great song. This is one of my favorite In Excess songs. I've always really liked this one. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Another band coming back with a new album, and this song this would hit the pop charts, but not for another few months. Like I think of this song being like late summer when it, but again, the AOR stations are just throwing them all in. So Van Halen, Love Walks In, of course, from 5150 at 38 this week.
To me, it was too much like, it didn't sound too much like Van Halen to me. It sounded more like Sammy Hagar, except for Eddie's wonderful solo. It was almost like Foreigner to me. Like they were kind of. I'm a bigger David Lee Roth fan, and there are some Sammy songs that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But yeah, this was, I think it's hit number 22 here in the states.
That
So
sounds right, 22 or 23. Yeah, of
yeah,
course, this was my entry point for Van Halen, but the Foreigner thing makes sense because Mick Jones did co-produce 5150.
exactly.
But to me, it's no lighter than I'll Wait from 1984, and that's always the argument I give. But it's
Good point.
anyway,
And I
it's
love
an
all
a
week. So there
yeah
you go.
yeah the age old argument. So
Mhm. We got The Firm at number 37. This was the second single in the video off of Mean Business, The Firm Mean Business. And it's the ballad, or could you say epic, Live in Peace. Live in Peace, they're trying to do the big epic here, but I think it sounds a little too dated. Those keyboards, those shrieking keyboards really seem out of place considering what kind of song that we're writing here. We're trying to write an anti-war song during a
yeah,
time when there was a lot
the
of war
Cold War and yeah.
going on. Yes.
Um, yeah, I used to have the two Firm albums. I don't have them anymore. I find them very underwhelming. I thought they could have been and should have been so much better considering the star power in that band. I thought Radioactive was a great song,
Yes.
but that's really it. I mean, those two albums and that second album complete to me was completely unmemorable. But yeah, and I don't think a lot of people are really big fans of those albums. But I mean, I like Bad Company and I like Led Zeppelin, but just didn't. But mind you, Jimmy was not in good shape at this time, so I don't know. Missed potential there, I think. Number 36. This is a song I'd forgotten about too. Pete Townsend from his White City album, Secondhand Love. I do remember seeing the video for this one. It wasn't a big hit like Face to Face was, and it wasn't. I don't even think it got as much airplay as Give Blood did, but I do remember this one. It's at 36.
I didn't remember this at all. And I knew Face to Face from the video. Give Blood got played on our AOR stations. So I didn't know this until I was looking into it. It's a decent track. It does have a nice bridge on it, I think. But at first, it kind of sounds kind of samey. Lyrically, it's very good, though. Next song, here's another head scratcher for what would be on an AOR chart, although it's a wonderful song. Howard Jones, No One Is to Blame. Wonderful ballad, one of his signature songs. I went to see Howard Jones a few times in the 2020s, and the crowd will sing the chorus right back to Howard. It's such a memorable track.
The really only the only AOR part of this is that Phil Collins is on drums
Yes,
on this song, and I think he might have produced it. But yeah, great song. Um, Number 34, this is kind of a forgotten band too, from Philadelphia, the Hooters, and sort of a ballad, Where Do the Children Go? This was 34. This is about where it got on the pop charts too, I think. And
yes,
and the only other thing I remember about this is that the backing vocals on this were from Patti Smythe.
yes. The Hooters were a big deal here
Yeah.
before they made it, because I live 2 hours north of Philadelphia. You heard those songs from Nervous Night, the international version of Nervous Night, a year before you heard them on all over all over MTV and all over the radio in this country. But you always heard "Hanging on a Heartbeat." That was the song that wasn't a big single off this album once they gave full distribution to Nervous Night. The Hooters were really popular here in Pennsylvania. "Where Do the Children Go" was the fourth single,
Yeah.
because you had "All You Zombies," "Day
Yeah.
by Day,"
And we
and
danced.
"We Danced."
Yeah.
So like this was probably the ballad of the four, even though it doesn't play too much like a ballad. They always had this really strong message in their songs. Cool track.
They're and maybe it's the time period too, but when I think of the Hooters, I also think of the outfield. They kind of put me in mind of each other because it's that jangly kind of guitar rock, good songs, good vocals. But yeah, yeah, it's funny. I think the first time I ever saw them, I think they played at Live Aid. I think they played at Philly.
They played it. They did play it
They were
live.
a brand new band. I think they played
Yes.
all you zombies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, okay.
The next is Starship with "Tomorrow Doesn't Matter Tonight." Believe this was the third single from Knee Deep in the Hoopla.
It's just fun to say, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
This hit 26 here in the States. I remember this track. It wasn't as memorable as the first two singles, which hit number one. It was a decent track, but I think it's very 80s in its presentation.
Very much. Yeah.
Scores on it.
I revisited this song a little while ago because I guessed it on a channel called Acting is Reacting, and the host Joseph does likes to do this thing where he plays bits of songs,
Okay.
and this year's theme was like songs that peaked at number 26, and
Oh,
so I mean it's right up my alley, and this is one that is like I do know what this is, but I hadn't actually heard the song since probably 40 years. I just remembered the chorus. But
mhm.
yeah, and when I got to the end of it, that's still pretty much all I remember is the chorus. But um number 32. Now this is interesting because I actually remember seeing the video to this song on Much Music very briefly. Bob Dylan with the Heartbreakers, as in Tom Petty's Heartbreakers, and Band of the Hand. I don't know if this was from a movie or not, but yeah, but I do remember this one.
I didn't know it at all. I looked into it in the last few days. Yes, it's from a movie of the same name. The movie bombed like the Hindenburg. It has a 0% rating on Rotten
Wow.
Tomatoes.
Okay.
Zero. But I did not know this song, and then when I checked it out, I was like, it's okay. I mean, I will say it has a better recording or production than Empire Burlesque, which had Bob Dylan's album from '85, which had a ton of drum machines. So I'll say it's a little more organic than that, but I don't think the song is much to write home about.
It's interesting because I mean, people would like, ridicule like say Starship for having such a dated sounding album, but the biggest of Dylan couldn't get away from it in 84,
Exactly. Yeah,
85.
he
And
could.
it was just the recording techniques of the day that, I I can't there aren't too many groups unless they didn't have any budget whatsoever that could avoid some of those tropes.
Exactly. And we'll be getting into this more with some other legacy artists or acts here.
Yeah.
So we have returning now at number 31. We have Mike and the Mechanics, which just was their second single here in the States, in All I Need Is a Miracle. Now, this is a pretty cool tune.
Yeah.
It has a little more fire and a little more bounce than the first single, which was Silent Running. It's a pretty cool tune. Nice lyric on here. Very memorable chorus. We got some studio effects on here. But it sounds a little dated, but I think it's a song that still works.
Yeah, I think what you get here is you kind of got like man plays electronic drums. That's the
Mm-hmm.
what I get. And great vocals on this one. This is not Paul Carrick. It's actually he's no longer with us, but his name was Paul Young. Not to be
It's not the
confused,
same
not to
Paul
be
Young.
yeah, but yeah, he sang this one. So number 30, we have Jackson Brown, and I know this was the title song from his then current album, Lives in the Balance, and that's at 30 this week.
Yes, this was a song that I had forgotten. And I knew it got played a little bit here in the States. I'm not sure if there was a video or not. There
I
may,
think there was. I think there was a video for it.
and on this album, Jackson Brown, wonderful songwriter, but he was always very introspective. But on this album, he was talking about what he saw in the world and how much he didn't like it. This is an anti-war song. The production's very 1986. It's a well-written song, but Jackson's angry in his lyrics here. And there's a little bit more grit on here, like you got, and as well as another song that by Jackson Brown that's coming up. But it's a cool tune, but yeah, it screams 86 in its recording.
Yeah.
Number 29, Uncle Ted, the Motor City Madman, Ted Nugent with Little Miss Dangerous. Speaking of artists who cannot escape the mid 80s production values.
Oh man, does this song ever sound like it starts out, it's got potential, but
Yes,
it's drowned in its own production.
certainly.
I think that Mohawk did something to him.
Uh-huh.
He's got the Mohawk on the cover of this.
Yes. Interesting video for this one back in the day, but this did get some radio play here.
Yeah,
And
it was probably the only remotely close thing to a hit he had in that Atlantic period.
yes,
Yeah.
well, Tied Up in Love no, this got played more in Tied Up in Love from Penetrator. So yes, I would agree with that. This is there's much better Ted out there, ladies and gentlemen. The song's it's okay.
So at number 28, we have Joe Cocker and Shelter Me. And I do remember there's a video for this song. He was someone who I wasn't overly familiar with at this point, but I do remember seeing some videos from him. I mean, obviously, once I started seeing videos from him, well, obviously he wasn't a brand new artist. I knew that much. And then I realized, oh, okay, so he sang that Up Where We Belong. I know that song. But so, and yeah, so I don't think this was a particularly big song for him. I do remember it though.
Right. Like this song, I think the only thing that really stands out is the chorus, because that sounds so much like Joe. Joe has a
Yeah,
very unmistakable voice.
yeah,
The rest of it, I think, is kind of faceless.
yeah,
And yeah, some of his 80s stuff, I mean, after Up Where We Belong is kind of spotty. 89, his big hit in 89 was pretty good, but yeah, this isn't the best of Joe. I mean, nice chorus on it though. And I knew it, I knew it from Woodstock, of course, and some of the stuff with a little bit after, like Delta Lady. So
right.
yes, there's Shelter Me. Number 27, we go back to Jackson Brown, and this was the first single off the album.
This was the most successful song. I remember hearing this on the radio, and I don't think it was a huge hit, but it was in the
No,
top
For
40.
America.
Yeah,
It wasn't a huge hit. This is another more of an anti-war anthem. I think this works better than the title track from Lives in the Balance. The only thing about this album, I was talking about the recording being Screaming A6. It seems like there's too many too many instruments on here because it sounds like a song that's is ready to rock out. But then you got David Lindley's violin on there, and David Lindley played with him forever. So you got a lot going on with this song, even though it has a very strong message.
Yeah. So at number 26, this was single number four from Heart's self-titled comeback album, and it was the fourth top 10 single, nothing at all. I mean, they were everywhere at this time. So this week it's at number 26, and I think it's only its third week, so it's climbing fast on here.
Yes, fourth single and the fourth song they didn't write. They were really relying on the outside songwriters on
Under
here.
a lot of record company pressure, and I mean, it worked,
It's it.
but yeah,
Yeah, there
crying all
was
the way to the bank.
right. They ride. Yeah, they did, and there were some gems that I think they have held up.
Yeah.
So
And this, honestly, like for a top 10 single, this isn't one that gets a lot of recurrent airplay these days, which is surprising.
yeah, you never hear this. They don't play this live. I just saw them a year ago. Just they didn't play this. They played "What About Love" and "Never," but they didn't play this one.
Yeah.
So we're going with number 25. This artist didn't make much headway here in the States, but he was huge in Australia.
Huge rock star in Australia. Absolutely.
It is Jimmy Barnes with Working Class Man. And it's got a working class feel to it. This feels very Bob Seger. Very well written.
Yeah, yeah. He had a heck of a voice, raspy.
Oh my God.
I know that I do remember seeing this video. I think it's the first I ever heard of him. This was from a movie. I want to say the movie was called Gung Ho.
Okay.
Has nothing to do with G.I. Joe,
Right.
but I think Michael Keaton was in the movie, and I think it was I don't know if it was a comedy or not. Wasn't a big movie anyway, but that's how I remember it. But Jimmy Barnes is probably best known for the song he had out the next year, where he teamed up with INXS for a cover of Good Times. But yeah, in Australia, I mean, Jimmy Barnes and the band he came from, Cold Chisel, are
Yes.
household names.
Absolutely. So number 24.
Yeah, let me. Yeah, stole that. Yeah,
Oh, that's all good.
I'm rolling right over these. Yeah, number 24. Talk about technology. You're like no mistaking the period this album came in. And although I know a lot of people that love this album, so this is Judas Priest from Turbo and Locked In, and some people love this album. Some people, this is where they got on board with Priest, and longtime fans didn't like it. It was like the guitar synthesizers and they were very much fully embracing the technology. And I mean, it was a big album. But yeah, Locked In was, I don't know, one of two or three singles from this album.
First video off the album. I got this when it came out. And these days, I'd say I really like half of the album. I'm a contrarian in the fact that I always like this song more than Turbo Lover, which would be the second single video. Now, Turbo Lover is the song that's off this album that stood the test of time. They still do it live on some tours.
Yeah.
Locked In's really, really catchy. And yes, those guitar synthesizers are really up front, but you got nice dual solos on here. Rob sounds great on it. It's I always dug this song, even though I was bigger fan of their 70s work, but I always dug Locked In. Next, we have Joe Jackson with the song Right and Wrong. And I only know this song because I have his greatest hits album. And it's on there. This is a pretty cool tune. Pretty hard hitting for Joe Jackson, I think.
I remember that this I remember seeing the video to the song and it's just live. And I think that this album was recorded live, but he had asked the audience to not make any noise.
Is
If
this
I'm not
Big World?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's
Okay.
the one. Yeah, so I do remember this song, but just only because I remember seeing the video. I don't ever remember hearing it on the radio.
I never did either.
Next song, great song. I always like. I'm a 12-year-old me loved this song because I always loved anything with a little bit of guitar in it, and literally this band was like the abbreviation of guitar, GTR. When the Heart Rules the Mind, super catchy. GTR was like, Steve Howe's second attempt at a supergroup
Yes.
After he left Asia. And so he had Steve Hackett from Genesis on guitar and the drummer, I want to say, was Jonathan Mover, who I think he played with Marillion. He played with a few people. I know he played with
Okay.
Alice Cooper later because the home video from Alice Cooper Trashes the World, he's the drummer.
Oh, okay.
And I think the singer's name was Max Bacon.
Yes.
But this was a super catchy song, and it was a fairly big hit. I think it got to like 13 or 14, so it doesn't surprise me that it's debuting all the way at 22 on the AOR chart because this would be an AOR station's dream, right?
Yes.
This kind of song.
Oh,
So,
no doubt.
great song. I think it's a really cool song, and it's another sort of prog supergroup attempting to be commercial, and in this case it worked once.
Yes, it did. That video got played really heavy here on
Oh
MTV.
yeah, like it was them playing on the stage that was basically a giant guitar, if I recall
Yes.
correctly, and it had cool lighting. It just looked exciting. And but the weird thing is that if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Jeff Downs also involved with GTR, or did he produce them? Or it
I
gets really confusing it
don't remember.
between the Asia, yes, GTR, Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman, Howe, like these that Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman, Howe that was supposed to be a second album. Anyway, but this at least we know this was one great song. So.
Yes, absolutely. Number 21, Van Halen comes back with the second single from their album. This hit number 22 in the States. I know this and Love Walks In hit number 22.
Yeah.
A lot of keyboards on here, but it's got a very punchy rhythm on it. It's Dreams. And we got a wonderful chorus on here, which Sammy does a great job singing on this chorus.
It's
And
up.
there's
It's
a bridge on this one as well.
so uplifting, and I love the end solo, Eddie's last solo before the song kind of winds down. So, um, number 20. Now, this is a band that I've heard of. I think I've heard a couple of their songs. This is not one of them. I know they were highly acclaimed. They had a lot of albums out in the 80s on three different record labels, but so they just never really caught on. And the band was called The Call. And their song I Still Believe, in brackets, Great Design, is at 20 this week. Do you know much about The Call?
I know a little about the call. I remember when this song was played back on, it was played on KRZ FM, which was our top 40 station. But it was one of those songs that you wouldn't hear in regular rotation. You'd hear it after 10 p.m.
Right.
And I remember this song getting played a lot after 10 p.m. There was like a few songs like this, and Everywhere I Go.
That
And
one I remember. I remember that one, and I remember one they had later called Let the Day Begin.
Let the Day Begin was their biggest hit. That
Yeah.
hit number 51 here in the States. I Still Believe is a wonderful track. This is Michael Bean was their lead singer and main songwriter. Wonderful track here, but it's got a really good message on it. The keyboard work is very, very memorable. The splashes of keyboards in the bridges of the songs work very well. But this is a very strong track. Yeah, the Call, very cool band.
I know they were very critically acclaimed, but they just didn't break through in a big way.
Yeah, that's correct. Number 19. This was the fourth single off of No Jacket Required. It is Phil Collins with Take Me Home, which has that very memorable keyboard, xylophone, whatever that is going,
Yeah, yeah. And the drum machine.
and the drum machine and soaring chorus on here. Phil sounds fantastic. This hit number 7 in the States, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, this track I think has endured pretty well from that album.
Um, there's a bunch of people on the chorus singing, but I know one of them's Peter Gabriel.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, this is a good place to bring this up because I do remember this being very cool. Listening to Casey Kasem, which I did faithfully, and there was one week in 1986 where there were, I want to say, 5 songs on that top 40 chart that all had some tie to Genesis. Because you had, I believe, Take Me Home was on its way out. You had GTR with Steve Hackett. I think Peter Gabriel may have just been debuting with Sledgehammer, so it would have been a little bit later than April. You had Mike and the Mechanics. Maybe there was just 4, but it was like some sort of top 40 record was set.
Well, Genesis came out
Oh,
with
Invisible Touch. That's right. You did have 5 songs. Yeah, there were 5 songs. So an eighth of the entire chart had some tie to Genesis. And it's interesting when you talk about Take Me Home being the fourth single from No Jacket Required. It seems to me there were more, but that's because in the midst of all those hits, he had Easy Lover with Philip Bailey, and then he also had Separate Lives with Marilyn Martin, but those weren't from his album. It was just the year of Phil Collins. It was Saturation.
Yeah, he was on fire there in the 80s. You couldn't avoid him.
Oh, if he was playing on your album or producing, or he was on Miami Vice, and yeah,
Or he was playing at both countries at Live Aid too.
yeah, yeah. Um, Number 18. This is an all-time 80s classic and deservedly so. I think this song hit, I think this was a number one song.
Yes, it was.
Um, Robert Palmer, Addicted to Love. I mean, it's simple, but it's memorable. And there's something really cool about how he, he was an R&B soul, type singer, but he sounded really good singing over heavy rock.
He certainly did. Yeah, I mean, in this country,
Power Station and
yeah,
yeah,
he did. Like, I mean, for a long time, he was known for sneaking Sally through the alley here, and then he
yeah.
did that song "Clues," which was more new wave. But here,
Very new wave. Yeah, very like Gary Newman. Yeah, yeah,
oh yeah, so that was back in the early days of MTV. There,
yeah.
but yes, I mean, he, very memorable video. But we don't think about the video anymore. The song really stands up. I mean, it's his signature song in a very, very interesting career that he had. He had
Yeah,
one.
he died way too young.
He certainly did,
Yeah.
no doubt. And we're back at number 17 with Van Halen, which I believe this would have been the fourth single and video off the album. It's side two, song one on the cassette,
Yeah.
Best of Both Worlds.
Yeah.
Very, very catchy song. To me, that might have been my favorite of those singles. I think that song is really, really held up. It's probably the grittier. Oh,
Oh yeah, it's definitely one of the more guitar driven things, and then Sammy still does it today in his live sets. But yeah, I mean, so you've got, I think all four of those singles from 5150 are just immediately.
exactly.
But again, that was the AOR way back then. So some of these songs that went on to be hits were on the AOR charts long before they hit the pop charts.
That's true.
Um, because they kind of had the pop charts like Wait Your Turn.
Right.
Um, Next song is interesting because I totally remember this. This is not a song that's aged very well.
No.
Uh, Unless you're like, if you're in 80s kind of mood, you're like, check this out. Graham Nash, of course, legendary, the Hollies, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Innocent Eyes. This couldn't be more dipped in 1986. It's got the drum machines. You've got Kenny Loggins on background vocals. It's kind of catchy, but it didn't do very well. I remember hearing it for like a week on the radio, and I think I've just. And the funny thing is, I remember seeing the video. John Ritter's in the video.
Yes. I saw the video back in 86 and I'm like, and I mean, I was only 15, but I knew who Crosby, Stills, and Nash were. I mean, I'm like, well, this isn't Sweet Judy, Blue Eyes, or Teach Your
Yeah,
Children
this doesn't sound like Teach Your Children or
or Our House or anything
yeah.
like that. Yeah, but I went and revisited this song recently. I will say, I used to think it was worse than it really was. I don't think it's a bad song. I think it's just that the production really ruins it. I mean, he sounds in fine voice
For
on
the
it.
time, it fit right in. It didn't
Yes.
sound out of place,
Mhm.
but it's just interesting to go back now, like to some of these legacy artists that started way back in the 60s. And like, by the way, they had an 80s period.
Mhm. Exactly. Number 15, Bob Seger comes back with a song that's probably best known for being in Chevy truck commercials here in the
Now,
United
yeah,
States.
yeah.
The title track to Like a Rock, which is a very cool track. It's more plays more like a ballad, but Bob sounds so great on this. Very, very earnest. I mean, very what's the word I'm looking for? Very personal lyric, I would
It's
say. Very
sort of it's
heartfelt.
almost a follow-up. It's like a 10-year look back. It's almost like a follow-up to Night Moves in some ways.
Yes, it does play like that. I
Yeah.
agree with that.
Which I wouldn't have heard at this time.
Oh, okay.
So that was all new to me. But yeah, it's burning up the chart. I mean, it's only in its third week. You know, it's only in its second week on the chart, so it's moving up. But he must have just his album must not have been out very long at this point. Um, Number 14. This was a big song for the Rolling Stones. Memorable video. It was like partial, part, live action, part animation, which couldn't have been cheap at the time. Harlem
Right.
Shuffle, which is a cover. Don't ask me to tell you who did it originally, but I do know it's a cover. But it was a big song for them. It was like the only really big hit off the Dirty Work album, and it's at 14 this week. And I can see that it was a number one song on here
It hit number 4 in the
on the
States.
pop
Video
chart.
did
Yeah,
get played heavy,
yeah.
and it's a decent song. I forget who, I used to know who wrote this, but it was the only big hit off this album. There are other tracks on here that rock a little harder, but I mean, they did a good job with this one. It's not a song by the Stones you hear anymore.
No, no, it's another big song from the 80s that you don't hear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Rolling Stones, they also have the number 13 spot here with Winning Ugly. Now, I have this album, Dirty Work, and there's a lot of songs on here where there's a lot of horns and background R&B singers, things like that. That's on this song. To me, if you listen to this song, it sounds more like Mick Jagger solo than it does the Stones, who Mick Jagger solo is more on the pop end.
Right. And he just had his like what was it called? I mean, Just
The
Another Night
boss.
was Just Another Night was the hit off of it. So yeah, I know Keith Richards wasn't very happy during this period.
Correct.
Yeah.
You don't hear
Um,
much guitar on this track. So
no. Number 12. This is another big song from the 80s that you don't hear because it just didn't reach the heights of the first two singles. So Mr. and Is It Love? This was the third single from Welcome to the Real World. First two songs were both number one songs on
yes.
multiple charts. This one I think hit number seven on the pop chart, but you'd never hear it anymore.
Yes, exactly. And which is a shame because this has that same craftsmanship that you
Yeah.
hear on
It's more
Kyrie.
up tempo.
Yes, more
Yeah.
up tempo, just like Kyrie was. Yeah, but you never hear that. Like Broken Wings, the first number one hit, that's probably the song that's endured the best.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes. But no, this is a very well crafted song, hit the top 10, and most likely you didn't hear it again.
Yeah.
Bummer. So next we have number 11. This is off of the album Once Upon a Time. This is Simple Minds with All the Things She Said. This was, let's say, maybe the third single
I
off
think
this.
it was because it was Alive and Kicking and then there was Sanctify Yourself.
Yes, correct.
This is a
This,
good song. I always like this one. This has got a kind of an interesting video with the you've got uh, there was a lot of they were experimenting during this time, but you'd have like the multiple versions of people as they were singing going by, and with the
yes,
background changed, and I think that eventually led to sort of like the Wang Chung video, and it was like an early exercise in it.
yes, absolutely. Cool tune. No, another one you don't really hear too much. I mean, the other singles, you Live and Kicking, certainly Sanctify Yourself, you still hear pretty frequently.
Yeah.
But this was a song that you hear a little more of it than we do.
Number 10, this is interesting because I'd kind of forgotten about this song. It was the title song from a movie, David Bowie and Absolute Beginners. I don't think this was a big pop song at all.
No, it charted here in the Hot 100. I don't remember exactly where. Yeah, I had forgotten how this song went. I remember when it came out, and it's a nice performance from David on here. It's a decent track. I don't think it's one of his best. I don't know. 80s, he was kind of up and down in the 80s to me, like hit and
Yeah,
miss, I should say. So, number 9, Honeymoon Suite, Feel It Again. To me, this is the song that should have broke Honeymoon Suite to the masses. It is a crime.
absolutely. It's
Just
one of
don't.
my all-time favorite songs by it just this song comes on, crank it.
Exactly. I feel the same way. This only hit 33 in the States.
It
It
was
should
their
have been.
only top 40 single in the States, which is crazy because most people, if they you say name a honeymoon suite song, they'll probably say New Girl now,
Yes.
which only peaked at 57, which is weird too. But this it seemed like they were about to do it, but it's always been hard for Canadian bands to break. That's never changed, unfortunately. But I think these guys had everything in place. Uh, they have the Bruce Fairbairn production, that big sound. They were catchy enough to get played on pop radio, but they could get played on rock radio. I just think they were a great band. They're still making music today. They're still making good records. But yeah, this is just a gem of a song, and it's a shame that it's a footnote now. Now, Canada was a different story. They were a big band up here. Their first two albums were both triple platinum. But yeah, in the States, just wasn't the case. But they're not the only one that suffered that fate. Uh,
Sad.
Number eight. So this is, I think, the fourth appearance we've seen for Bob Seger.
Yes.
And this was the first single from the Like a Rock album. And this was actually quite an up-tempo rocker of a song, American Storm. I remember this getting a lot of airplay and a lot of video play too.
It did here as well. Yep. First single. This got played really heavy. The nice piano line on
Yeah.
here. Got a great chorus on it. Yes, very upbeat, very driving. Cool tune, mate. Interesting. You don't really hear this one much
Don't hear
anymore.
this one much here anymore either. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's weird. Yeah, we're coming across a lot of these top 10 singles, top 10 pop songs that you don't hear anymore by fairly well-known artists.
Yes, like this one, but no, this wasn't a fairly well-known artist. This is a
It's a huge,
legendary,
huge song.
huge song for this legendary Texas blues band.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, the first time I heard them was this song "Tough Enough" by the Fabulous Thunderbirds, and they were known only in blues circles for the most part for the first five albums. This is off the sixth album, I believe, and this was huge.
Yeah. Yeah. This was
And
a huge song.
they had like a couple other minor hits. They did a cover of "Wrap Her Up"
Yeah. Yeah.
or "Wrap It Up." I'm
Wrap
sorry,
it up. Yeah.
"Wrap It Up." "Wrap Her Up" was
It's
George
Elton John. Yeah. Yeah.
John.
Yeah. And
So
they had they had a song off the Cocktail soundtrack.
powerful stuff.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
This was the top 10 breakthrough. I mean, I still hear this song on the radio sometimes, but as far as it's not like it's overtly pop.
No,
It's not really blues rock either, but it's just a great, great song. Great, great. I don't know if it's a keyboard line, but whatever keeps it, na, 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 whatever keeps that going. It's got a great soloing from I believe Jimmy Vaughn,
that
brother
was
of
Jimmy
Stevie
Vaughn.
Ray. What was the singer's name?
Kim Wilson.
Kim Wilson. Great voice, great, great like voice on that guy. Yeah, great song. Simple. It's easy to remember. I mean, it's repetitive, but just enough repetitive so that it doesn't get mind numbing. But you just get the chorus in your head, and um, yeah, it's a great song. And they had deservedly got a hit out of this, but that was about it.
Yes,
But most bands that were coming up like them probably would have given their eye teeth to have that one big
yes,
pop hit. And it happened once in a while because I know in '87, I don't think it was quite as big, but you had Robert Cray with Smoking Gun,
yes.
which was got a lot of airplay and was like a top 30 single. And he was just a blues player that's just doing his thing, and all of a sudden he has this one song that, hey, I think you got a hit. What?
Exactly. So next,
Uh,
I'm sorry.
number six, another song that's burning, like a third, only the second week in the charts. Number six. This was a huge pop hit. It's a very keyboardy song, but this was a band that was, I guess this was considered a comeback. The Moody Blues and Your Wildest Dreams, definitely their biggest song of the '80s.
Oh yes.
Although we come to realize they hadn't really been away that long. It had only been like 3 years since their last album, but this was like to my generation, this was a lot of us. This is the first time we ever heard of this band.
Well, for me, I remember Long Distance Voyager with Gemini Dream and The Voice, and then you had the next album, The Present, which had Sitting at the Wheel.
Yeah,
But there weren't videos for those songs.
I remember hearing those after the fact, and then of
Okay.
course, of course, hearing like Nights in White Satin and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, obviously, again, you could tell, okay, well, this is an older band. by looking at them, but I mean, it worked. The video worked for them. It's a memorable video, kind of sad, it tells a story, but this was a huge hit all over the place, like all over the charts.
Yes, it certainly was a very memorable song. Another great bridge on here to keep. And I think this is a song I think that's aged really well.
I
What can
think it has. It's not overly, the production's not overly um dated, because they
no.
always had lots of keyboards. So it
Yes.
doesn't sound overly dated. It just sounds like a Moody Blues song.
Yes. And very well crafted one at that. Number 5 from the album Afterburner. This is the third single off the album. ZZ Top with Rough Boy. Best known for those wonderful guitar lines by Billy Gibbons. I
Oh,
think
the closing guitar solos as this fades out, it's one of those fades that could go for 5 more minutes. Every one of those licks is so cool. The video was really cool.
yes, it was.
It had like the guy's faces and it's nothing else. And, the girl's walking around, but it's just like her, bottom half, and they're
Yes.
shining up the big afterburner, not car, but spaceship, I guess. And then they
Yes.
take off again. But yeah, and a great vocal from Billy Gibbons. I mean, it's a nice ballad for
Mhm.
them. But yeah, the guitar licks, every one of those guitar licks are really, really good. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Uh, Number 4, this was the second single from Dirty Work. It wasn't as successful, but definitely a little rougher sounding than um, Harlem Shuffle. One hit to the body. And I think the guitar solo on this song is by Jimmy Page,
I think you're right.
which is
Yes.
odd, but
Yeah.
and in the video it almost looks like Mick and Keith are going to come to blows.
Yes, that I remember clearly.
Like I have to wonder how much of that was acting and how much was, the director thinking, am I gonna have to yell cut? And it's like, take a breather, guys. You over
That,
there and you over there. But a cool song. Wasn't a very big hit, but it's a cool song.
yeah, I think this is the opening track on Dirty Work. This hit number 28 in the States, got played heavy on the AOR stations here, of course. But yeah, this song is wonderful. This sounds more like the Stones than a song like Winning Ugly would be, for example.
Well, I see from someone that was only just, I, honest to God, I think the first song, other than maybe hearing Satisfaction on oldies radio and not knowing who it was, but I think the first song I definitely remember from the Rolling Stones was Undercover of the Night.
Okay.
And this sounds more like that than Harlem Shuffle did, as far
Oh,
as someone that's just heard a couple of songs.
yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, and I think this song is like aged better than a lot. I think this day aged better than Harlem Shuffle. I mean, you still
Yeah.
hear this more than Harlem. Like you don't
Yeah.
hear, but you
Yeah.
still hear this one, even though it wasn't as high a charting hit. So number 3, I remember this video. This video got
Yeah.
played heavy on MTV.
Yeah.
His last top 40 hit here in the States, I believe.
Yeah. That
Julian,
was the only top 40 hit he had off that second album of his.
right?
You'd think you might have thought he might have been poised to have a bit of a career because I think he had 3 top 40 hits off his first album, but it just was the didn't turn out that way. I think he found some success kind of as a songwriter,
Yes,
working with other people, but yeah.
Julian Lennon, and the song's called Stick Around. And it's a very, very well crafted pop song. You can hear John in his voice. The
Yeah.
video was pretty cool too. Yeah,
And the Michael J. Fox in the video.
I think so.
I think that was the big
Yes,
cameo. Yeah.
yes, but pretty cool. Another pretty cool song that you don't hear anymore.
Yeah, like it's a
Decades ago.
forgotten. Yeah, I remember it. I can remember how it goes, but it was not a big hit, and that was kind of it for him as a, as a he released more albums, but they just kind of didn't go anywhere.
Right.
Um, Number 2, this was an album that was 3 years in the making. It was a long time out of the scene from Raised on Radio. The first single, Journey, Be Good to Yourself. Now, this was one of maybe the only real rocker on that album, but I really, really like this this song. It was a top, I think it just cracked the top 10 on the pop chart, but it number 2 here this week.
Yeah, hit number 9, I believe here.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yes. Yeah, this is there's a lot of keyboards on it, but it's a very upbeat song, very rocking
Very
song,
driving. Yeah.
very driving, great chorus. And I think by this point, we didn't have Ross Valerie.
Yeah, it was a compromised lineup on Raised on Radio because on bass you got Randy Jackson, and on actually drums on this song are really good. The drums are by a guy named Larry London, who was best known for playing with the Everly Brothers. But yeah, great drum track on here. Steve Smith plays on a couple of the songs on Raised on Radio, but not this one. But yeah, no, it's a good solid Journey rocker, and I'm glad that they made this the first single.
Yeah, it would make sense for us to be the first single, and then that wonderful guitar solo from Neil. Neil
Yeah,
had a great knack for his guitar solos,
yeah,
always fantastic. Number one, okay, and this is the fourth time we'll talk about this band, but
yep.
very big album. Their first number one album here in the States
A
for them.
lot of expectations for it, right? A lot of because they did what very few bands were able to do is survive the loss of a lead singer.
Right. And that album, which only hit two, because I think Michael Jackson's
Yeah,
Thriller has still been at number one at this
yeah.
point. Yeah. Well, we have Van Halen for 5150, the first single, Why Can't This Be Love? Now, this is a very bouncy song. It's the keyboard, it's leading it. It is a very catchy song. I'm a little more into Best of Both Worlds. This isn't as gritty, but it's very catchy.
This
Great.
is another one of my all-time favorite songs. I write about this in
Nice.
my Sammy book. It's like when I heard it, I'm like, who is I didn't know who it was. Because they didn't say it first. I'm like, who is singing? That guy could sing the telephone book and I'd like it. So that was it. That's that's where it all started with me, and then went back. But yeah, so I mean, it makes sense. It's kind of cool, with 5150 getting the 40th anniversary treatment. Obviously, they were getting a ton of airplay. Van Halen with Dave, they can. There's a lot to brag about because Van Halen with Sammy never had a number one pop hit, but they
That's
did with Dave with Jump. So it's just that every one of the albums they did with Sammy all were number one albums.
all
So.
forward.
So that's, even though we're talking about the AOR tracks, that's still a pretty good slice of what you were hearing on popular radio back in 1986. So, John, I want to thank you for doing this chart. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you,
And
Tim.
I would encourage anyone to, if any of these songs that we've sort of pinpointed as sort of lost songs, especially that Wax song right between the eyes, go listen to that. That is a super catchy, fun pop rock song. It's fantastic. And you'll hear it and you'll go, why am I just hearing this now? And why wasn't this a huge hit? Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. So, folks, don't forget to check out John the Music Knot on YouTube. He's got all kinds of cool programs. Sometimes you'll see me talking on there with him. Most of the time you won't. So do tune in and do subscribe. And I want to thank everybody for watching this edition of Tim's Vinyl Confessions. And we will see you all later.